Gus Greenbaum is an old friend of Meyer Lansky and Bugsy Siegel. He joined the Bugs and Meyer gang before Prohibition. But in the late 1920s, Gus Greenbaum began working for the Chicago Syndicate. Greenbaum was involved in the operation to oust the Continental Press News Agency and establish the gangster-founded Trans-American Agency on the West Coast. Along with Mo Sadway and Morris Rosen, Greenbaum entered the lobby of the Flamingo Casino 20 minutes after the shots that ended Bugsy Siegel's life. The trio took control of the establishment and, thanks largely to Greenbaum's entrepreneurial talent, made it profitable. Then Greenbaum put on its feet the Tropicana Casino. His merits impressed the leaders of the National Crime Syndicate. Gus Greenbaum, the second most brutal gangster in Vegas, after M.O. Dulles, ran many casinos in Las Vegas, and in Arizona was the main bookmaker of the game. In addition, he and Meyer Lansky ran an illegal liquor business and ran a gambling business in New York's Lower East Side. When Greenbaum began running the business at Flamingo, almost a year later, it went from a loss-making establishment to a profitable one, and even $4 million in profit was officially announced. It is assumed that the hidden income was 3 times more. The Flamingos, like the whole of Las Vegas, which was in the hands of Greenbaum, prospered, and his word became the law for everyone. But the problem was that Gus got into the game himself. In addition, the city of Vice was full of other temptations, such as young dancers. Under the influence of his wife, and also because of his own fatigue, Greenbaum resigned and left the city. But the syndicate needed his managerial talent. At the Riviera Casino, things went from bad to worse. The losses of investors amounted to $5 million. Tony Accardo and Jake Guzik personally went to Greenbaum's home and demanded that he run the casino. But Greenbaum was rich. He was tired, and he just wanted to live in peace. A week later, his half-sister was killed. Greenbaum got the signal and drove to Vegas. Gus Greenbaum and his assistants Dave Berman and Joe Rosenberg managed to improve the situation in the Riviera, but problems soon began. Greenbaum brought in Willie Bioff, who had testified against the leadership of the Chicago Syndicate in the Hollywood extortion case, to join his team. Greenbaum refused to take action against Bioff. Marshall Cafano came from Chicago in 1955 and organized the dirty job. Bioff was blown up in his car. Then Greenbaum broke loose. He was too carried away by gambling, girls, half his age, and even drugs. Gus was constantly drunk or high. He began to steal from his own casino. Joe Rosselli, a spokesman for the Chicago Syndicate, tried to settle the matter amicably. But this time, Greenbaum didn't want to leave. "This city is in my blood, Joe," he replied. The reaction followed immediately. Marshall Cafano had to make another trip to Las Vegas. In 1958, Greenbaum and his wife were found in their home with their throats cut. Greenbaum embezzled relatively little, $20,000 a week, compared to the amounts he earned for the syndicate. But it was a matter of principle. The syndicate sent a signal that he was not to be trifled with. True, Rosselli himself claimed that the syndicate was ready to forgive Gus for his previous merits, but Meyer Lansky insisted on decisive action. It was Meyer's contract, Joe said, the sophisticated murder of not only the gangster himself, but also his wife, Mrs. Greenbaum, according to the gang, should have become for all those who had some kind of relationship with the gang, an extra incentive to play fair. If this phrase is generally acceptable in relation to the mafia, Greenbaum, along with Bugsy Siegel, can be considered one of the founding fathers of the gambling business in Las Vegas.